To do a quick reading for our procedures for this meeting, and then I'll turn it over to Mark Wojtowicz to take a quick roll for the commission, or the design review board, sorry, and then we'll go from there. So welcome folks to the February 8th design review board meeting for the town of Waterford. This is a web-based call and we're operating under the following procedures. This meeting is being audio and video recorded. A recording of the video will be available within 24 hours and will be posted to the town of Waterford's planning department website. To ensure good sound quality, the default rule for the meeting is that everyone will remain on mute unless they're speaking. If an attendee creates an audio or visual disruption, the Zoom moderator may place them on mute or remove them from the meeting if the disruption continues. We will not be using the chat feature in this meeting. We appreciate your attendance at the meeting, and should you have any questions about the process, you can call our staff at 860-444-5813 between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. And I'll turn it over to Mark.
Okay, very good. I'll take the roll for tonight's meeting. John O'Neill. Here. Bob Nye. Here. Joy Merrill. Ed Pellegrini.
Yeah.
No. Okay, we have 3 members here, so we do have a quorum.
Very good. All right, calling the meeting to order. And let's see, item number 1, appointment of alternates will not be happening. We have enough full-timers here and no alternates. Item number 2 is the plan review, PL 2116, request of John Hendel, Hendel's RTE 85 Land LLC. Owner and applicant of the site to locate a multifamily development, 969 Hartford Turnpike. All righty, I will turn this over then for the.
That's me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, I'm attorney Mark Brantz, B-R-A-N-S-E, with the law firm of Halloran and Sage, and I'm representing the applicant. I'm joined by John Hendel, the principal, and also Tim Wentz, our architect. And Tim is now showing you an aerial schematic of the total development. The proposal is on 35.5 acres. It is proposed to be 284 units in 7 buildings, plus a community center, community building. The units are 55% studio or 1 bedroom, 36% are 2 bedroom, 9% are 9 bedroom. There are 500 parking spaces. At the time of application, 490 were required. The regulation has since been amended and only 410 are required. We're doing some fine tuning right now, so we may reduce parking or we may just have that little bit of extra in there. The total building coverage is 7.8%. And there are a number of recreational features, including a disc golf course to the rear, and plus an outdoor pool and other facilities in the community building. I'd like to start by going through our compatibility study that I worked on with our architect Tim Wentz. And Tim, do you have that, or should I have that loaded on my screen?
Okay, you want to take that over?
Sure. All right, I'm gonna share screen here and see if I can. Oop, host disabled. Can the host allow me to share screen?
You should have. I just made you a co-host. You should have that ability.
All right, let's try it again. See if it's willing to do that. And this is looking a little better. Let's see here. Yes, let's see if I can get this to work. Okay. Yes, there we go. That's what I was after. Okay. Can the members of the board see my screen? See screen 2? Right. Yeah.
No,
Let's
not yet.
share. How about now?
There we go.
There we go.
All righty, good. What I did was when Tim and I first started sort of brainstorming about this, Tim has done a great deal of work in Stonington, New London, and other areas in New London County along the coast. So we already had a pretty good feeling of the architectural styles that you find in this area. And what I did was I went through this immediate area the area right around the proposed site, which is on Route 85 opposite the crossroad intersection. You saw the overlay. And sort of, there aren't a lot of older buildings left in that area, I'm afraid. I did not want to use Crystal Mall or the Waterford Commons as part of our compatibility comparison. I tried to look for things that were more original and that I thought were exhibited a Waterford character. So that in working with Tim, he could see some of these features. And I'm going to go through the page of this briefly. I'll walk you through the details of the architecture. But you'll see that one of the things that I saw was here was the 6/1 window pattern. And so Tim has picked that up on these drawings. You'll also see in several of these photos that square white column and the white outline, the white frame, and again that's picked up here. Another feature that I saw a lot of was the gable end with a single rectangular window. You can see in this photo here. And also you'll notice that this is a cedar shake building. And Tim has picked that up here in this gable end with the rectangular window feature as well. And again, you see that those square columns with the white top and bottom. You'll also see the railing feature, and you're going to see that in a few places that used here. I saw a lot of that vertical railing style. It's used on all the balconies. And also, okay, you can see that again, another building. And again, and I went only in the immediate area. I stayed on this side of 95 and really just that up by the firehouse and the old.
Hey, Mark, just we're having a little bit of a hard time hearing you. I think it's when you.
Oh, it's when when I look at my screen, when I look at what I'm showing you, I turn away from the computer and then it fades. So let me try to make sure I look at you while trying to see this out of the corner of my eye. Thank you, Abby.
Got it though.
We also Tim also used some standing seam tin for these bay window features, and I found that on Crossroad, one of the industrial buildings there. We also found a couple of examples of the shed dormer, very common for this era, and that's used on some buildings. Some use there's a couple of different gable styles or dormer styles here that we'll walk through. One of the things that I was very impressed about with Tim's work is that no two of these buildings are the same. They all they are all slightly different, different features, different textures, different colors. So it gives it a nice distinctiveness. I also looked at that new Constitution Surgery Center building. You can see again, it has a couple of the features that we use in the community building. It has that shed dormer feature, and also at the entrance, the roof brackets that I found also used at Constitution. So those were some of the things that we looked at in this area to try to use the local architectural vocabulary. And unless there are questions, I would turn it over to Tim to walk through the details of the buildings.
Okay, thank you. Okay, as Mark had given a good overview, and well, first of all, let me start. My name is Tim Wentz. I'm an architect with Gate 17 Architecture. I'm actually one of the principal founders of it. We specialize in multifamily housing, and the majority of our work is in Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Maine, and Maryland. So I'm very, very familiar with New England style architecture. And as Mark mentioned, one of my projects is in Old Saybrook. Another project is two projects are in East Lyme. I've got one project in Mystic with another one coming up in Mystic. And of course, this one in Waterford. So the New England colonial style is what we chose here. And what you can see from this rendering is that the buildings do have a different style to keep some visual interest in the project and to make sure that it's not monotonous. I'm going to turn to a site plan and it's going to show you the building numbers. This is building 1000, and that building is 4 stories in the front and 3 stories in the back. Moving on to building 2000, it's similar, but again, what we did was we changed some of the textures and the colors to give it some variety. And this one is 4 stories in the front and 3 stories in the back. We then move on to building 3000, which is a
folks are not able to see the different buildings as the screen isn't advancing.
I'm just
the board member. Oh, okay. The board members were asking which ones we were talking about. So
yeah, I'm still talking about the initial rendering.
Okay.
And then I'll get into the individual buildings.
I think they're having trouble seeing the cursor, Tim, so sort of wiggle it around.
Can you see it now?
no.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me go. I guess this building in the middle here is a 4-story building. And the 2 buildings at the end are 4-story buildings. And this building at the bottom of the screen is a 3-story building on the parking lot side and a 4-story building on the back side, along with this building on the far right, which is a 3-story building on the front side and a 4-story building on the back side. So what we're doing is we're following the grading of the site and adapting our buildings to the grading. And in the center here, of course, is the clubhouse. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. Nope, not that one. Right here. And this is the site plan, and you can see how you come in this winding boulevard, and the buildings are numbered here: 1000, 2000, 3000 in the middle, 4000 and 5000 at the left end, 6000 at the bottom, and 7000 at the bottom right-hand side, with the clubhouse in the middle. And you can see what we did. You know, there's certain facilities that you need to have for a apartment complex. One is a dedicated mail and package room, and one is a maintenance building. Now, normally these are separate buildings on the site. We had the opportunity to incorporate them into the buildings. So if you see in building 1000 on the far right, facing the parking lot, is the central mail facility for all of the complex. We do this because number one is that it's simpler for the post office to do it, but it also becomes a nice area where people can congregate and meet their fellow neighbors. Subsequently, on the other side, in 1000 and 2000 are basically mirror images of each other with slightly different exteriors. We have the maintenance facility on the far left there. And again, we do this so that we don't have to have a lot of standalone buildings on the site. In the clubhouse in the middle, which is centrally located, you can see behind it, we have a large pool area with a pergola, and then the green square you see there is a active area for people to do. We may have a children's gymnasium on it. We may have it a putting green. And then, of course, it was mentioned by Mark that we're going to have golf frisbee throughout the perimeter of the building. Now, this is building 1000, and this is the first building that you see when you come in the site. And at the first floor on the far right is where the mail room is, and that's got its separate entrance. Now, I'm not going to kid you, these are large buildings, and what we need to do to cut down on the scale and make it more appropriate for residential uses, the first thing we do is that we vary the elevation of the front facade. It's not one single flat plane. There are ins and outs, and we do that. The decks that you see there are recessed. The areas between the decks are jutting out, and then the areas where the bedrooms are set back a little bit. So we're not getting a long, boring facade. The second thing we do is we vary the materials and we vary the colors. The upper area on the 4th floor is principally a shake siding, and the gables are shake, and the center portion is partially shake. And then the rest of the building is a lap siding. Now, to vary the lap siding, to give it interest, we also change the color, but we normally just keep to a 2-color scheme. So we feel that by varying the colors, by varying the front facade, and the other thing that's important is that we vary the roof. And we do that by first bringing the roof in at the ends, which is a traditional hip roof. And then in certain areas of the roof, we raise it up a little bit so we don't have one continuous long ridge line. And then within the hip roof, we incorporate gables. So all of these things create an interactive play, which keeps the scale of the building down. And then finally, what you're looking at is the fenestration, and these are very large windows. They're 3 feet by 5 feet, each individual window. And everyone that's ever walked into the apartments that we do, the first thing that strikes them is that there's a lot of light in the building. And they love the fact that it feels very open and light and airy. The main entrance to the building is right where you see that numeric number 1000. And then the 2 doors on either side that have the standing seam roofs over them are the staircases coming down and out of the building. Any questions on this elevation? Good. Now, one of the things that we don't do is to create what I call Hollywood fronts, where the front of the building is where all of your interest is, and then the back becomes very plain and looks very cheap. All of the tricks that we play in the front, we also do on all 4 sides of the building. And here you can see that we're creating shed dormers, we're creating the gable ends, we've got the balcony areas, we have the change of materials. And then on the side elevations, this really tells you the story of what the building is, in that it's 4 stories in the front, which is that center section. And then as the grade goes up, it's 3 stories. And again, you can see that we're using the same architectural cues that we're using for the front elevation. I'm not sure whether you want to get into floor plans or not, but you can see that the first floor here.
I got a question on your side elevation.
Okay.
You show doors on one side on all the buildings. But
Correct.
They lead to nowhere. Are those fire exits or?
Those are on this particular building, that's a fire exit that would be for the mailroom.
Be for the who?
The mailroom.
Okay, so, but it looked like every building had one, so they're all fire exits?
On the sides or in the front and back?
The side. I thought all the sides had one.
Not all the sides have entrances, no.
Okay, just the mailroom and the maintenance, or?
Yeah.
Well, I'll ask a question then on this one, since it's the mailroom.
Okay.
Why don't you have access from the mailroom to where the trash dump off is? And later I'm going to ask another question on the trash, but You see what I'm saying? That you have to leave the trash or walk across grass instead of a direct line to that door.
Well, trash is something you don't use every day, and mail is something that you do use every day. We keep the two relatively close to each other because they are two areas that the person can drive their car to the mail room and also drop off their trash at the same time without having to remove their car. The main entrance to the mail room is in the front there, and there's a walkway that goes out to the park.
Okay, I see what you're saying, but the walkway doesn't go all the way to where the trash is my comment.
Well, the trash has a separate parking area right in front of it.
I understand that, but then you said you're gonna have people do their mail and the trash at the same trip, so you can't have it both ways.
Well, they can come and they can park in the lot here, and they can walk over and throw their trash in, go over and pick up their mail and get back in the
All
car.
I'm saying is you don't have the sidewalk extending to where the trash is. That's all. That's the only comment I'm making.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, add another 4 feet.
Yeah, that's something we can do.
However, I got another comment on the trash that I'll withhold till you're done with,
Okay,
thanks.
you're welcome. Then you can see on the second through the fourth floor, it's a full building. It's not a half building. This is the sister building, building number 2000. And the basic layout is the same. The difference here is that the maintenance building or the maintenance area is on the far left-hand side, and that has direct access to the outside. What we did here was we varied the colors and we varied some of the materials, yet we're still maintaining the overall theme of the project. Again, in the back, we're still utilizing the same patterns and tricks that we do in the front of the building. And then on the side, in the maintenance area here, we'll have a garage door where people can, they may have like a golf cart with a flatbed on the back of it that they would go around the site. And so they will have a separate drive out of that, out into the parking lot. And you can see here on the far left-hand side that the maintenance building, or the maintenance area, I should say, is located. And again, this is the second through the fourth floor. Now, this is the building which is in the middle, and it keeps the same themes, but again, what we're talking about is varied roof planes. We're talking about double gable ends. We're talking about a mixture of shakes and siding and a mixture of colors. So all the cues that we're using in all the buildings all have the basic theme to the project. This is in the back, and again, this is the building, which is 4 stories all the way around, and the sides. Now, the doors that you're seeing here are doors to utilities. The one side is a telecom closet. The other side would be a sprinkler closet. And again, you can see this is a 4-story building, slab on grade, second through fourth floors. Now, these are the 4-story buildings which are on the far left-hand side of the site. Not to get repetitious, you can see that we're doing the same things that we did in all the buildings, with bay windows which stick out, varying materials, varying roof lines, combinations of shed roofs and shed dormers, balconies, varying colors. And this is the back, again, same theme, and the sides. And these are the floor plans. Now, building 6000 is a little bit different in that because the grade is sloping away from the back to the back, that the building is only 3 stories in the front and it's 4 stories in the back. So people enter on, we call the first floor, and then the floor behind that's on the, I don't want to call it a basement, but it is at the lowest level. We always call that the garden level. And that's a half floor. Again, same tricks, varying gables, varying roof lines. And this is the 4-story back. You can see at the lowest level here, that's the garden level. The next level up is first floor, second floor, and then third floor. And on the sides, the high ends are the ends which are facing the parking lot. The low ends are the ends which are facing the grassy areas and butting up to the trees. Now this is the garden level, and you can see the staircases are facing towards the front parking lot for exit reasons. This is the first main entry level, where in the center you've got your main entrance into the building, and then of course your stairs exit out. Each one of these buildings also has an elevator. And this is your second and third floor. And then this is building 7,000. Again, it's a 3-4 split. It has a different configuration of units, so it creates a different elevation. And in the back, the 4-story area, the side elevations, again, the back is the 4-story, the parking lot side, which is on either end, is the parking lot level. And again, this is the garden level and the common area levels. Now, I don't want to go too far into unit plans, but as Mark was telling you, there are basically 4 types of buildings or units. There is a studio unit, a 1-bedroom unit, a 1-bedroom den unit, and a 2-bedroom unit. Now, each unit has granite countertops. It has a washer dryer. It has its own mechanical system, which regulates the apartments, and also the water will also be metered. So the person who rents this apartment is only paying for his utilities and his usage. Each apartment also gets its own outside deck. Now, every apartment in this project will be handicap adaptable, and then it will have the correct number of accessible units, which are more for people who are chair-bound. I believe that's around 2%. But every other unit, because we're an elevator building, is adaptable for people with disabilities. This is a picture of the 1-bedroom here with a den which sweeps around. And it's actually in 3 different configurations. Most of the time we have it with an outside, but we also have one which is an inside den. And then finally, our 2-bedroom units. When we do the 2-bedroom units, we split them up. We never put them side by side. The master bedroom has its own bathroom and walk-in closet. And then there's a hall bath, which serves the living area and also the 2nd bedroom. Again, this is different configurations. Now, the clubhouse. The clubhouse, again, is following the same themes that the rest of the project has, so it looks very similar. The only difference is that it is a 1-story building. And what you can see here is the clubhouse plan. On the right-hand side there is pretty much the community room, which has a gaming area, a sitting area, and then a cafe. which has a serving kitchens for people that want to rent out the clubhouse for special events, birthday parties, things like that. And it also serves as a nice coffee bar in the morning. And then there is a leasing area, which if you're coming in the front door, which is at the top, the leasing area is off to the left-hand side there. And that's where all the leasing is handled for the entire project, because being a rental project, leasing goes on every day of the year. And then there's a common conference room table down the corridor there, and that is for not only the leasing people, but if someone wants to have a conference, they can rent that room. And then opposite it is the business center, and these are becoming more and more popular with people who are working at home. They don't necessarily want to work in their apartment 8 hours a day, so they will come into the clubhouse and they will use one of the desks there where they can set up their computers. And then in the back there is basically the active part of the facility, where we have a large workout room, we have a separate fitness on demand room, we have the bathrooms that are for the entire clubhouse, and we have a pool equipment room, and finally a lifeguard room. So the squares that you see back here on the left bottom side is actually the start of the patio area, which has the pool and the swing sets and the active areas. And then finally, the garages. There are approximately 8 garages of varying lengths. But again, we're dressing these up with putting gable ends on them. There will be a certain number of accessible garages. And of course, what we're also showing is the entry monument sign. And that's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, let me have it.
I just got one out of curiosity. How are the buildings split up? You had like 3 4s and 4 3s and regular. I mean, are they split up bedrooms, or different buildings have different bedrooms, or all the same?
Well, again, there is, hold on, I'll tell you.
That's more out of curiosity than.
We have 10 different unit types that range, from the studios to 3-bedroom, and so, but each building has those units in them.
Okay,
It's not like you go to one building and it's completely different units. There's 10 basic units for the entire project.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
Yes, question regarding these side elevations. I understand what you're trying to do in terms of changing the elevations of the front of the building. However, from the side elevations, those changes appear to be very subtle. In some of your elevations, they barely show up at all. For instance, the one we're looking at now doesn't even show the awnings over the front doors.
Well, there are no front doors here on this. There's no front doors at all. The doors are always on the street side.
Yes, but wouldn't the awnings over them show on this elevation?
Well, again, this is a maintenance or mail. This is more of a service.
That's not his question. That's not his question. He's saying that there's an awning at the front door, and when viewed from the side, he's expecting to see it projecting out, correct?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But I think that's because it's recessed.
No, it will show up. The side elevations just don't reflect that.
Okay, that was my point. The side elevations are, they don't show what I believe you intended in terms of the degree of elevation change on the front of these rather large buildings. That is a concern. I know that you've gone to some lengths to try to incorporate some of the local architectural details. However, the massing of these buildings is on of a completely different magnitude. These are very large buildings, so every bit of detail counts.
I agree with you.
Are there gutters and downspouts, or are we go
Yes,
back to Bob's question about the doors?
no, there's gutters and downspouts.
Okay, thanks.
And the downspouts all go to a underground system, which takes it away to the stormwater basins.
Mhm. The HVAC units that you spoke of, each is independent to its unit. Those are these small, well, they show up as small blue triangles or small blue rectangles on the
Yes.
front elevations.
Next to the balconies, you see a
Right.
small
Yep.
blue that
Okay.
represents the air conditioning condenser.
Okay. Very good.
What are those? I missed that. Those little squares?
The ones on the floors you're talking about on the front elevation.
Yeah, where are the AC units?
If you look at the balconies, they're either to the right or the left of the balcony.
Okay, so there's those little,
You know, there's a separate maintenance closet on
All
every balcony where the hot water heater exists and the magic pack where the all in single unit exists. It's a combination of heating and cooling in one package unit.
For the record, Mark Brantz, one of the ideas here is that people will be more responsible in their water and electric use if they are paying for it.
that's true. So what kind of windows are these? How
These,
many?
they're vinyl single hung windows. And
uh,
as I said before, each window is about 3 feet wide and 5 feet high.
How good is the insulation more than,
Of the window itself,
yeah,
well, it'll meet the Connecticut energy codes
Okay.
for the U value. You know, they typically will have, they're double glazed, they have low E coating on them, and they have argon filled. So they're very energy efficient in that way.
Well, I'm all set. All right. All right. Are you fellows prepared for any of the questions on landscaping or outdoor lighting?
And I have I can share a screen showing the lighting. And I do have the landscape plan I can display for you also. Maybe a little hard to see on this, maybe a little tough to see in this format, but let's give it a try. Let me start by sharing screen for the lighting. A minute. All right, so can you see that? That's the style of wall lighting, and it will be used also that for all the wall lighting. And Tim, I believe is the variant on that also being used for the parking lots?
No, not for the parking lots. It's
Okay,
for
just
the
for the-
garages and
Oh, okay.
for the decks. And it's important to notice that is all the lighting will be LED, and the outdoor fixtures are all dark sky friendly, which means there's no light that goes up. All the light is contained and goes down.
That each deck will have one of those units?
Pardon?
Each deck will have one of those units?
That's correct.
Okay, so when you're looking up at them from Route 85, you will see quite a few of them.
Well, theoretically you can, but the wattage is very low on
Mhm. Right, and the lighting up the driveway?
them. That Mark will have to
I'm
speak.
looking to see if I have a detail on that. I know that, I didn't think we needed the engineer for this one. I see the base.
The deck lighting's not on all the time, is it?
It's only for, each resident when they turn it on. It's part of their power. Part
Okay,
of
so they
their.
can turn it on and off.
Right. So they're not on all the time.
All right.
There's a lot of, let's see if I can find landscaping. I know it's here. Hang on. Find my E&S. That's the entrance drive coming in. See that coming off of 85 and stormwater drainage.
I think the
Let's see.
black circles that you see there in the parking lot are the light standards.
Yes, that's correct. This is a pole light.
Okay.
I know they by building code they all have to be dark sky compliant. All right, layout and landscaping. I know this is the sheet. I realize it's difficult to see at scale. Is there a particular area that you'd like to see?
Could you please talk into your mic?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, when I look at my other screen, I'm using two screens. When I look at the other screen, I turn away from you.
Move the screen closer.
Yeah, I've gone side by side.
I was concerned about
This is the landscaping plan that you're looking at now.
right, my concern was about the lighting up the driveway. Are those all tall lampposts? Are those lower to the ground? The street lighting?
It's not street lighting. Those are the post lights, and
Those post
again, by
Okay,
yes, they're not like street lights. They are each of the black circles going up the driveway,
mhm.
in the median island, and also at the sides. And there's, by the way, on this sheet, you see there's the plantings themselves.
Can I ask a question about the plantings? Did I see something about bed plantings in front of each building?
That's
in
correct.
front?
And you can see on this drawing, there's a patio screen. It's called the sun palette and then shade palette. I don't. I'm trying to sort of move through the plan. You can see each like there's all your street trees going up and down the driveway. The AG, which is what?
Did you hear my question about the bed planting in front? There's not a bed in front of each house, is there?
You see where I'm pointing with the cursor here, ZG. So those are the trees and shrubs. I don't know if there's a floral bed in front of each one. I believe it's lawn, but with trees and shrubs.
All right, so there's no trying to think of the right word. It's all lawn except for the shrubs.
Correct. And like, for example, at the pool area, you've got shrubs along here, the CB. I'll have to look up and see what it is.
So there's no empty place with dirt that you're expecting.
Oh God,
to plant flowers.
no. There's it's all lawn, trees, or shrubs.
All right.
And of course, you don't want to put too much shrub in front of the patios, so that people get the light. But you'll see there is quite of the foundation plantings. Shade and sun, and you can see that's quite a list of those. The different mixes, a mix A and mix B, and then for both sun and shade, a mix A and mix B. And sort of following Tim's idea, try to keep these buildings a little bit different, not all have the same trees and shrubs in the same place in every building.
do you have a perspective? Oh, I'm sorry, John.
No. Okay.
Do you have some sort of perspective if I'm at the end of Cross Road at the stoplight and I'm looking up that hill? Do you have any perspective of what this is going to look like from, let's say, the Cross Road as you're approaching Route 85?
Well, we don't, and the reason is that you're mostly going to see the driveway, and then just like these buildings here that I'm pointing out with the cursor now. The ones up here are high enough, you're not going to see them. Really, all you'll see are these two. And even there, it's, as you know, it goes up pretty steeply there. I'm sure you've all seen that. It's
Yes.
that's why we had to snake this driveway around to get our grades.
Mhm.
And it's also a reason why we wanted a mail room. We don't want anybody going down the driveway for mail.
All right. Are there any other questions from the board?
Yeah, I got some on, I'm looking at your site plan on sheet LA-1. So I'm going back to my trash question. My daughter lives in a complex much like this one, very big. And when I'm visiting her, we always take the trash when we're leaving, not when we're coming in. So I'm wondering why, other than the grade, why it's not on the way out on the right-hand side.
All right, that's again, Mark Brents, there's your trash area. There's the parking lot serving it. The mail room is in here. By the way, there is a sidewalk coming out to here, unless you're thinking of like a special one just from here.
I
Chairman.
was talking right where you have your,
Okay, all right, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. We can do
but
that.
I don't know why the trash isn't on the other side when you're leaving. I want to get my mail on the way in when I come in home from work, and I want to drop my trash off when I'm going to work.
You know, I'm afraid I don't agree with you. I don't think I want people coming up.
I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm telling you, that's what I do.
Yeah, when people are coming in this main drive, when people are arriving here, we have.
That looks like an accident waiting to happen, that whole smorgasbord of trash and mail and the entrance.
I don't think we want the first thing people to see when they arrive in the complex to be the dumpster.
Pardon?
It's off to one side, and this is a nice landscape basin with club right next to the clubhouse. That's the
I
first thing
can't
you
hear
can
what
see
you're
when you
saying.
come in.
Huh?
I said the first thing you see when you come in is that nice clubhouse with its landscape basins, landscape on there, and no parking, and not a parking area in the dumpster. It's people can very easily take a left turn in if they're doing it on their way out. Or if you're coming from one of these buildings, you just pull in that way, go along there.
You got a lot of traffic there, people crossing. I still don't know why it's on the other side. That you still, I mean, you got room for it.
I mean, to put it
Easy in and easy out. You wouldn't even have to turn around.
something to look at.
Pardon?
I said it's something to look at.
And now I got another comment. What they have at her place, which I'm not a big proponent of always, but there's a lot of kids there, and they have 2 speed bumps right at the entrance, one going in, one going out. So my comment would be, why not put crosswalks where building, I might not have the same building ones, numbers you got, building 1 to the pool right on the end, I guess where the mailroom is again, and make that crosswalk a speed bump. And then from the building on the bottom, which is rats, I wrote it down, building 7, I think.
Yep,
Same
building
thing.
7.
Put a crosswalk and make the crosswalk a speed bump.
Like where my cursor is now.
Yeah, somewhere in that area.
So like there and maybe like here.
And then on the other side on the way in, because those
Uh-huh.
speed bumps slow people down. And having it as a crosswalk, you get 2 for 1.
I got you. That's a good suggestion. Thank you. I wrote that down.
I'd like to commend you on the Frisbee golf and the dog park too.
Thank you. As part of our P and Z application presentation, we have a young man who's going to walk people through disc golf. It's perfect because it can be played in a wooded area. We don't want to take the trees out of there. And we know people are going to have dogs, so let's have a dog park. You know, dogs are allowed. People love dogs, but let's make sure there's a place where they can go and be out of everyone's way.
By example, one of my projects up in Maine is 240 units, and they have 260 registered dogs and cats.
I hate cats. Let's go back to Bob's question. If I remember where the light is on Crossroads, aren't you going to have to blast to get in there to build that driveway?
We've done some borings already. There may have to be some blasting. That was noted in the staff reviews.
All right. And has the fire department reviewed these plans for egress from these buildings or?
Absolutely, yes. Fire,
Okay.
police, they've been run through also WPCA. We've also conferred with New London concerning the water supply. So yeah, it's those sorts of technical reviews have already been done.
And the colors of the buildings are pretty much what you're showing in the architectural, the gray and the off gray?
That is correct. We were asked to show you the actual colors, and that is what's presented here.
All right, thank you.
And that's why I know normally you don't get a color elevation of every building, but that's because typically every building is the same. Since these are all different, the town planner asked us to provide a color drawings of at least the front of each building. So they're different roof lines, they're different sizes, and they're different colors.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? All right.
Could I stop sharing screen?
Sure, yeah. I want to thank you, gentlemen, for your patience with our questions. This is a large project. Very imposing upon the landscape. It's some very, very big buildings. There's a lot to look at here, many things to consider. I do have reservations about the size of these buildings and the way they're going to look on top of that hill. There's also a lot of pavement in between these buildings, not a lot of grass. The folks in building 3 and a bit of an island there surrounded by pavement. But with those reservations, those are things we can pass along to planning and zoning. But yeah, I think you fellows have done your due diligence in trying to make this a project that fits in within Waterford. Like I said, it's a little bigger than most of what we have here, but prepared to pass it along with those reservations. Is there a motion to approve?
Before you.
Should we?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Before you do
Yeah.
that, there were some conditions I think that Ed had
Right.
brought up during the meeting.
I'm sorry, I skipped over that.
No problem. One of those was to extend the sidewalk from the mailroom location to the trash area.
If they don't move the trash area, I recommend they move I recommend they move the trash area to the other side on the way out. And also put in the crosswalks and the speed bumps as mentioned.
Right.
I mean, those can be forwarded to the planning and zoning if you want.
Mhm.
But I agree, there's not a lot of room for the kids to play other than at the in the back of the buildings where there's no way out of the building without going around, so a lot of tire.
Okay, well, the relative to relocating the trash one, I'm just wondering whether or not it's located on the right-hand side due to trash pickup for the large truck to come in and get to the dumpster. Would they, otherwise you have a truck going through your site to get to the other side of the driveway where the trash would go, or perhaps a different location for that trash.
Well, you could make it so he can get in without even entering the site proper.
Mr. Chairman,
It could almost be a through off thing. In other words, you don't even have to be on the site to get to it, or when you leave, you're leaving almost off the driveway. I mean, I'm asking them to look at it. I just think you're gonna get a lot of traffic there against traffic.
Okay, so that'll be up for review.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
one correction. I was wrong, and I was asked a question. I gave you a wrong answer. Each of the buildings on the site plan do show a foundation plantings across the entire front. It's outlined in a dotted line and it's labeled landscaped planting bed limit. So every building and the clubhouse do have foundation plantings, and I said they didn't. They actually do. My apologies.
But you don't show anything in them except for
We show
the,
the material. We show them the material that'll be in them in the table. So rather, because it would be too small to show them in the, so that's why it's a dotted line showing the area, and then the table
So-
shows what's in.
so they're all perennials or shrubs is my question then.
Ornamental grasses.
I have to go back to the palette. And I'm seeing ruby spice, clethra, little blue stem, low bush blueberry, Pennsylvania sedge, inkberry, hay scented fern. That's of course not a shrub. Wintergreen, creeping lily, turf, boxwood, pink knockout rose, Virginia sweetspire, Bar Harbor creeping juniper, more of a ground cover, blue switchgrass, red striped winterberry, catmint, and low bush blueberry,
Oh,
and others too.
Mhm.
Arrowwood viburnum, purple leaf sand cherry.
So that's under the foundation plantings. That's what you're saying?
Correct.
All
I
right.
saw the table. I didn't see the dotted line around each of the buildings.
All
That's
right.
why- that's where I was
Yeah,
wrong.
I didn't make the tie between the two.
Well, I missed it, so, and I'm supposed to know better.
Thanks.
Is there some way, Mark, excuse me, in the motion that to phrase it in such a way that we would really like planning and zoning to look at or to consider, particularly some of Ed's comments?
oh, certainly. I mean, that's definitely within your purview to do that. That can be placed in the motion as recommendations for the Planning and Zoning Commission to consider,
Right.
and then we can certainly put that.
For
in.
example, even John, you're, so I think if we could just take a minute to kind of 1, 2, 3,
Yes, absolutely.
all right?
Yep.
Hey,
So I was, as the meeting was going on, I was taking notes on some of the issues here. Speed bumps was one of them. So to consider the location of speed bumps, preferably within crosswalks. So that can be,
Mhm.
within the motion as a recommendation for the commission to consider. So we can label it, one is speed bumps, review the trash location
Mhm.
as well to make it more appropriate, safe perhaps, for both pedestrians and traffic as well. And with that, if the trash location cannot be relocated, consider extending the sidewalk from the mail room location to the trash, to what's being proposed now for the trash location. One other thing actually that I was thinking of was the maintenance portion, the maintenance unit on that building 2000. At the garage door on the side, you had mentioned, or it was mentioned that there was a golf cart or some other small service vehicle, but there's no driveway or anything showing on the site plan. It would be driving across lawn, essentially, is what we're saying. So if I guess the site plan could show some sort of drivable surface on there. It doesn't have to be pavement, of course, but gravel or pavers or something of that regard on that as well, to accommodate that. So I guess with all that,
John, are you set with that, or did you want to?
Yeah, and my concern about the amount of pavement just between these buildings is really rather significant. I just don't. It's a reservation. It's
Okay.
Is it all?
The other thing that I noted was a post light detail. I couldn't, if we don't have it, we should add that. You asked about the post lights and what they look like, and I don't see a detail of that. We should add that.
I think I remember seeing that in the full set, but yeah. Okay, wonderful. Well,
And getting back to John, the surfaces, it's probably in here, but the surface, what kind of surface, all these parking places and all this? Is it pervious, impervious, combination, or?
It is by 2 minutes, but we have the engineer has designed low impact design infiltration for roof leaders and a number of other areas. That's what some of the ponds that you see on the site are. I would also, Mr. Chairman, if I could I share my screen for one more minute?
yes.
I'm just gonna show you one of the things that's hard to visualize here. Right there, this is almost like a bowl. All right, that's why the buildings, these are 4 in the front, 3 in the back, whereas 3 in the front, 4 in the back. This area isn't flat. This area in here in the middle of all these buildings is not flat. It does have some contour, and you can see these finished contours. So when you look at it in plan view, it looks like it's just this flat thing in the middle of all the buildings, and it is not flat. It does have grade to it.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, that helps significantly. Very good. All right, we're at a motion.
I'll move with the reservations that Mark has listed, if you include that in the motion.
For consideration by the planning and zoning commission.
Right.
Exactly.
So motion is made by me.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you,
Very
gentlemen.
good. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you for some very good suggestions. We're gonna definitely consider those for sure. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Last, yes, minutes from November 8th.
So moved to accept.
Is there a second? Ed, do you second the motion to accept minutes?
I'll second. I was on mute.
Okay, very good. All in favor of accepting the minutes of November 8th?
Aye.
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 Very good. And a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Right.
And stop recording.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big sucker. Up the hill.